Hello and welcome to the Weekly Reel podcast. My name is Jeremy,
And my name is Ken.
and today we're in for a ride for a high octane podcast because we just watched Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. But Ken, right now, before we get into the movie, like this season, we started this new format of video, just in case people are only listening right now.
Yes.
Where are they watching us right now?
Well, again, very up and coming streaming platform. They're a little bit known, maybe just to hardcore fans. We're on this thing called YouTube, and they can hop on the live stream right now. We're currently streaming live. And while you're on our live stream, go to our channel, hit that subscribe button. That way you get future notifications. Well, especially if you hit that bell. So that you know when our live streams are. I know the last couple we've been kind of floating with different days, only because, because I caught some sort of virus or whatever. But I'm hoping that next movie will be back on our Wednesday night. You know, something that our audience has been more accustomed to. So yeah, check us out on YouTube.
Yeah, life gets in the way. Movies aren't number one thing in life. They're possibly number two, but life gets in the way. Health kind of comes first, I think.
Yeah, man, I was like listening to last week's live stream on If, and I was like, man, I sounded hella congested. So
And you like the movie like more than I did.
yeah,
Spoiler alert for that episode, but like obviously just that congestion was just literally holding you back.
yeah, it was pretty bad in that it hit literally the day that we were going to originally live stream uh if episode. So yeah, it was really bad timing on that and on that front. So
Yeah, it
I
happens.
yep,
Hopefully we can get back on schedule for sure.
yeah, for sure.
But for this special weekend episode, we're going to be talking about Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. So here's your spoiler warning for that. Furiosa stars Furiosa this time in her origin story as she travels across the desert to find her way back home. This movie is obviously a prequel to Mad Max Fury Road, and I was actually surprised about some of the end credits stuff a little later on that they
Mm.
actually showed that. Um, but to jump into our first segment of the day, the double feature, special thing that we always have here. My question for you is after the big box office flop that right now it is turning out to be, and quite frankly, there's many different aspects of it like contributing to that, I think. Um it may not be because of the quality of this movie in my opinion. Do you think we're going to get a sequel, and if we do, what would you like to see happen?
Well, I don't know if you saw the third installment of whatever they were gonna do. If it was gonna be another like
Yeah.
kind of like related story, or if they were gonna go with something within this linear timeline, it's in trouble. It really is
Mhm.
in trouble. I don't want to say for sure that it's just completely scrapped. I could have sworn that it's leaning that way, but in Hollywood, you never say never, especially maybe, hopefully word of mouth, especially with platforms like the Weekly Reel podcast. Hopefully spreading the word and in convincing people to go see it, especially in the largest format possible. Um, I'm afraid that this may be the last, but to answer your question on what I would want to see next, I would like to see either. I want to see Dementus's backstory, because obviously, we get like hints of his past. I felt like I was a little bit skeptical based off of the trailer of how Chris Hemsworth would portray Dementus as the main villain, or what seemed to be the main villain, and obviously he turned out to be one of them. But obviously he made creative choices to his character with this weird accent. Lady and gentlemen, I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's so good. Start your engines. Uh, I don't know. Like we got hints, based off of that little, teddy bear or stuffed bear. Obviously, it seemed like he suffered something tragic when the world kind of devolved into this dystopian, I guess the way it ended up being within this universe.
Hmm.
And I want to see if we feel some emotional connectivity to Dementis and feel sorry for him, even though he ends up being a pretty nasty guy.
Yeah, that's true. Um, Chris Hemsworth's voice in this movie reminded me as if Bane were to be a little higher pitched and a little just more demented, less calculating. It's just yeah, but that was a pretty good impression.
Yeah.
That would be interesting because, like you said, with the whole teddy bear thing, and he ended up pretty much being like a pimp.
Mm.
Um, and but it's interesting like how much he was almost trying to like there was this fine line between him actually like protecting Furiosa and like just grooming Furiosa. It was weird. um there were times where I felt like Chris Hemsworth actually like genuinely as Dementis cared for her
Mm.
in a protective way. But then at the same time, it would go between that, like genuinely caring for her well being, and then being like, oh, she's my property.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like
But
you
it
may
was,
be right
it
in
was more,
in all aspects. There's probably weird times where he kind of goes through all those weird emotions.
and I don't know, from a crazy person standpoint, it's like he kind of mentioned like his backstory where he had like a wife that he killed and all that stuff too. So it's like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe his kids are out there too. So who knows? Possible revenge plot for them to killing their father, or not really killing their fathers. Obviously, we get the different
Hmm.
Dementis endings to
Yeah.
the in this movie. Um, but that would be interesting. I just for me, I want to see more of Max, Mad Max himself,
Yeah.
because he was a little bit of a supporting character in his own movie, and then we
Yeah.
get Furiosa in this movie,
Yeah.
which surprisingly for the first maybe 30-45 minutes, I was like, how is Furiosa now the supporting character in her own movie? And we're watching like Dementis, right? And kind of the backstory of, I was really surprised of how long it took for Anya Taylor-Joy to pop up in this movie. I was like, what? It's
It
like
was
an
a good hour
hour.
in.
I was like, what is this? Freaking Dark Knight Rises, and like, where's Batman? It's like, where's Anya Taylor-Joy? But I was like, damn. It's like, how many did they only shoot her for like 1 week in this movie? It's like, what happened? But I did enjoy like the origin of it.
Hmm.
Um, quick tangent, I guess.
Yeah.
You know how they had the five kind of chapters to this movie?
Right.
I felt like number two is probably the slowest and like most exposition heavy one.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I was like having like long blinks.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, come on. And I was like, let's get to the part where, it's an older Furiosa already, but then it takes a while.
I think during that, I think and we'll actually talk about it on my half of the double feature, but
Okay.
with that part two, the second chapter, I feel like I think for me the most redeeming quality of that chapter was that we get to see Dementis and what's his name from the first Morton Joe
Mm.
like kind of like their whole dynamic, and then are like, oh, are we gonna see an all-out war? And but then it obviously kind of subsided it a little bit. But
Mm-hmm.
you kind of got to see some of the seeds that they planted later on in the movie. But I did like that it wasn't just a straight up revenge story for Furiosa,
Yeah.
and but you get to see like a lot of different aspects of her backstory that they showed already established in Mad Max Fury Road, and then you kind of got to see what she was like kind of learning. So yeah, that second chapter is a little bit slower and has more exposition, but you can see like that's where she learned a lot of what she ended up bringing to Mad Max Fury Road.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah, that I think that was the main chapter I was having the longest blinks,
Yeah, yeah. No,
But
I get
it was a
it.
long day. But either way, it
Well, let
really
me
does pick up.
let me ask you just kind of a follow up to your answer to your own question
Mm-hmm.
about wanting to see another Mad Max project. Like, are we talking about more of his backstory, or are you talking about like what happens after Fury Road?
Whew, I think I would be good with either one. But in a way, I kind of want to see his like the Tom Hardy's origin or Tom Hardy's Mad Max origin story. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Because we
mhm,
get to
mhm.
see that with Furiosa, and when we jump into Fury Road, like we're just literally jumping straight into it. Um, so as much as I like a sequel would be cool, I would want to. I don't know if we need to end that prequel movie with the beginning of Fury Road again, but
Yeah.
like just origin story would be cool. I think.
Right before this live stream, I was kind of doing a little bit of
Oh,
refreshing of the story because I've only seen it the one time. But new rock stars, I mean, we'd like to kind of mention them on this podcast and give them credit
mhm.
for all their hard work. But I did watch a breakdown of Furiosa, and Mad Max, the character, actually makes a very quick cameo. I don't know if you caught it. I'm not even talking about the quick cuts at the end
Mhm.
with Mad Max Fury Road, like how obviously the story kind of unfolds
Yeah.
in the 2015 movie, but when Furiosa escapes after like literally cutting off her own arm, and she's kind of out in the middle of the desert, just kind of thing. There was like that wide shot of Mad Max in the car, and you
Yeah.
see Furiosa thing. So I'm not sure if you caught it the first time. I
I
kind of missed it a little bit, like the connection, but I was kind of thinking about it. I was like, wait, is that Mad Max? And it and
I
it turns
thought
out it.
so.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like just because like the way he was dressed and the way
Yeah.
they framed the car, and you can see Furiosa kind of like topple
Mm-hmm.
over, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at first I was like, is that guy not gonna do anything?
Yeah.
He's just watching her fall over. But yeah, at first I was like, was that Mad Max? And then we saw his name in the credits, and it's like, oh, it's just
Yeah.
some random guy. So it's like
So it turns
maybe
out that was
he's.
his stunt double, Tom Hardy's stunt double in Fury Road.
Oh, was it really?
It really was, yeah.
Okay, I thought
According
you were
to
joking about that.
yeah, I was joking about it, but yeah, it turns out that that was actually him when I watched the new Rockstars breakdown.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
Yeah,
It's real quick.
yeah, very quick. Um, Before I get into my half of the dope feature, I kind of wanted to add one last thing to my answer to
Hmm.
Dementis. I would like to see also it because it seemed like Dementis actually was alive during the time when society was still together, like before it all broke down into this dystopian hellhole or whatever.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to see that kind of the beginning, or at least the beginning of the linear part of the story. You could do flashbacks and stuff and all that stuff and present it in a way. But I kind of want to see how Dementis was like in the real world.
See, it reminds me of the TV show Fallout with the ghoul.
Mm,
Kind of
yeah.
seeing he was alive during
Mm-hmm.
uh the apocalypse, pretty much,
Mm-hmm.
or Judgment Day if Terminator fans just when the
Yeah.
bombs drop. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it would be cool. And Again, I'm gonna refer to the New Rockstars breakdown again, but remember there was like kind of like in the very beginning there was those voiceovers. One of those voiceovers, real quick, and I completely missed it, was Chris Hemsworth's voice as Dementus, sounding normal. I don't know if you caught it. It was very quick.
I think so. I mean, Chris Hemsworth's voice is pretty distinct.
Yeah, but I don't think it was Dementus like yet.
Yeah, yeah.
It was more Chris Hemsworth as Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah. Soon to be Optimus Prime later this year.
Right. Oh man, I kind of also want to bring something related to news in part 2 later. Hey, we just wanted to plug part 2, so
yeah.
Stay tuned for the soup du jour. For those of you who don't want to be spoiled by Furiosa. For my half of the double feature, I mean, alluded to the chapters. I'll go through each one of the 5 chapters. The first of which was called The Pole of Inaccessibility. 2 that we've been talking about, Lessons from the Wasteland. Chapter 3 was The Stowaway. Number 4 was Homeward, and number 5 was Beyond Vengeance. If you had to pick a chapter that was your absolute favorite, which chapter did you enjoy the most? So, and if you don't know which scene kind of fell into what, I think I wrote down some quick scenes, I guess, to kind of have an idea of which ones fell into what.
I like the little chapter of whichever one had her kind of journeys with Praetorian Jack. Is that number 4?
Yes. So like when she was already kind of joining him, and eventually they get into the bullet farm.
Yeah, also. Yeah.
Kind of, it was like the lead up to the bullet farm, right?
Yeah, yeah. So the lead up to that, just riding on the, what's the name of the big truck again?
That war rig?
The war rig, yeah, there we go. Just, dude, the action in that sequence, them working together. Didn't expect Praetorian Jack to last that long. And it's just a lead up to, the climax. But the climax itself was pretty good.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't hit hard if that sequence and her just starting to lose everything again.
Yeah.
It wouldn't like pay off.
Yeah, there was a lot of unexpected things that happened. And you're talking about chapter 4, Homeward, where one, I think we talked about it after we watched our screening, while we were walking back to our cars. We were talking about, I was like, man, I'm surprised Praetorian Jack didn't die in the bullet farm and he lasted that long. Because obviously you got the whole sequence where he knew that that something bad was going to happen. That's why Praetorian Jack had Furiosa in that sidecar, separated away from the war rig so that it would be a quick getaway for her to protect her. And then he even signaled her with that green smoke to like, hey, get out of here. It's a trap.
Yeah.
So
see, I always interpreted it as they were she went in the sidecar with all like motorcycles and all that stuff to like once they deliver whatever to the bullet factory, that she can just like leave and separate from the rest of the group. Just like secretly or quietly as she can, because he said like, "I'll give you anything you need to get back home."
I think it was both. I think initially that was, but I had a feeling he also had a feeling something could be off.
She should have just left him, man.
Yeah,
she would have her left arm still.
That's true. That's very true. No, I mean, and they were talking about how, I mean, I felt like it was a really good callback in that she could have left. She really could have just protected herself, like lived her life, tried to find the green. What do they call it? The Greenland? No.
Greenland. I'm just kidding. No, I just thought of the Green Place.
Yeah, right? The Green Place. Thank you. Yeah, it was called the Green Place. It was similar to like when she could have left her mom. She could have been again. Like she could have like left, listened to her mom, protected herself, found the Green Place, found the rest of her people, obviously plant that seed that she had from the peach.
Mm-hmm.
But then she ended up going back because she cared for her mom, and obviously she cared for Praetorian Jack, and just shows she's a ride or die.
Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely definitely a good one. Did you have a favorite?
I did. I like that one as well, but
Mm-hmm.
to talk about something else, that first major action sequence with the war rig. That
Mm.
action sequence, you could tell like from the way they were kind of doing the tracking, and they were kind of showing every kind of bit of that war rig, and then you kind of see uh you can see like the beginnings of Furiosa learning the ins and the outs of the war rig, where
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, there's places underneath where you can like stow away, like stow away for herself, and then eventually in Mad Max Fury Road, where you could stow away all those women or whatever to get them away from Morton Joe.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I thought it was pretty cool because obviously she's still learning the ropes. She's still kind of protecting her identity, right? She's still pretending to be a boy at the beginning of that
Yeah.
chapter. And then all of a sudden, like, her hair gets revealed, and
Yeah. I was
Praetorian
like, damn,
Jack.
she hasn't cut it in a long time, man.
Yeah.
Like, did you just cut your hair?
Yeah, I felt like Praetorian Jack was smitten after that.
Yeah.
She's like,
It's like, wow, beautiful
you're,
hair.
it's like, oh, I thought I was playing for the other team, but oh,
It's like
you're a
Mulan.
girl. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. It's like,
That is
it's like,
so
oh,
good.
he was in love with her even when it was revealed.
Let's get down to business.
He pulled a Shang for sure. But then
I
he
love
died.
that. I bet you, we're the only podcast in the world that can make that connection between Furiosa and Mulan.
Yeah. If someone else did it, we did it first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
You heard it here first. But what'd you think of the stowaway chapter?
See, that was good too. Like you said, the tracking shots of it going under and over the war rig. That was a
Yeah.
long freaking chase sequence, man. I mean, they're in the wasteland, so they can have that Fast and Furious runway. If you know what I mean. Was that first
Yeah.
Fast and Furious 6 when that freaking airport runway for the longest time? But I was kind of disappointed. Maybe not disappointed. A little bit anticlimactic with that one weapon at the rear
Oh,
of
at the
the
end,
war.
kind of like the drill.
Yeah, I was like, I thought it would be cooler.
Yeah.
I mean, it was cool, but they were like hyping it up, like, wait, not yet.
Yeah. I felt bad for that little person that ended up kind of dying at the end. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's like, how come he didn't turn on the weapon? I'm like, oh, because he got shot. It's like, damn.
yeah. I mean, there was it looked like it was meant to provide a little bit more I guess more of a safe haven, like a shield, but compared to the rest of the war rig, it looked like it was lacking in cover. That thing was like kind of thin or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, you can actually see where in the like little manhole cover thing that there
Yeah.
was like bullets actually penetrated through. Probably shot
Yep.
him that way. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Damn. It's pretty sad to see him go, but yeah, I thought it was pretty cool to be able to see that whole dynamic. Obviously, we got Furiosa learning about the war rig, and it obviously pays dividends later on in at the end of the movie, and obviously with Fury Road.
I'm just surprised no one found out that she was a girl earlier. I mean, she
Yeah.
almost got caught when she was like,
Taking a piss.
taking a piss. It's like, what the heck?
That scene reminded me of Arya in season 2 of Game of Thrones.
Yeah. See, like, I don't know. It's like, oh, he's a mute. I'm like, dude, he's clearly like the features
Yeah.
clearly Anya Taylor-Joy. So I was like,
Yeah.
the heck? Oh, did you? I read an article that they actually fused a younger actor with Anya Taylor-Joy to like it's not like pure CGI. Well, it's CGI kind of fusing features together. If that was the case, that's like pretty crazy because I never heard of that before. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. Um, but at the same time, I was like, the kid doesn't look too much like Anya Taylor Joy.
Yeah.
Um,
So wait, you're
that was
saying that the CGI was mainly used for the younger actress who played younger Furiosa?
yeah, to give more Anya Taylor Joy features.
Oh, see, I was wondering. I was like, dude, they hella casted that younger actress really well because they had like kind of like the facial features, especially like Anya Taylor Joy's like kind of lip structure
Yeah,
for the younger actress. I was like, oh, okay, so that makes sense that
yeah.
they kind of
I
altered
felt
it.
like some shots
Yeah,
were better than others.
yeah, yeah.
Right? But yeah, for the most part, I was like, yeah, it's not bad. It's not fully
Huh.
there. It's like I was trying to buy into. It's like, oh, can this person grow up and look? You know, we've seen in other movies where it's like outrageously like different.
Hmm,
So it
hmm.
was pretty cool to learn about that. I would actually want to see like the behind the scenes of that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
that would be pretty cool because I've seen it where they just fully like put a
De
CGI over
aging.
complete yeah completely over an actor's face or whatever, but I've never heard of it where it's just partial.
Yeah, just kind of melding the two.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's jump into our next segment, the dailies, Ken. Let's see. I'll give you first dibs on whatever you want to talk about for Furiosa.
Oh, I think we kind of started talking about it a little offline after our
Hmm.
screening, but I kind of want to ask you, especially while we're live and on YouTube, what was your favorite callback, or should we call it call forward to Mad Max Fury Road with Furiosa's character?
Oh shoot! You know, I whenever when she suited up in like her more Fury Road outfit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course she's gonna have the mechanical arm, but I was like, dang, now I just want to see another sequel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I can't wait for. I wonder what happens after this movie. But like, I don't know like to see that transition of kind of like the motorbike kind of outfit to slowly go into that wasteland, being the heroic um, warrior that we saw her in Fury Road. I think that was always. I always like costume changes in
Hmm.
movies, and or especially seeing origins and for the outfits to reflect that.
Yeah. I especially liked the how obviously while she was still kind of stowing away and still pretending to be a boy, obviously it was practical when initially she shaved off her head and we get to
Hmm.
see kind of like that time jump or whatever, or what do you call that?
Time skip
No, not time
or
skip. Or like when they kind of fast forward really fast. What's that
oh,
term that
time
I'm
lapse.
time lapse. You see
Yeah,
the time lapse of her wig or whatever on the thing.
yeah,
I thought it was pretty cool because then obviously she's trying to be a boy. She's trying to survive. She doesn't want to reveal that she's actually the missing girl from that was from Dementis, right? And then
hmm,
later on, she then starts to obviously she was shaving her head, but then she's starting to put like that face paint or oil or whatever they she puts on her
yeah,
face, and I was like, ooh, felt like that was kind of underrated aspect of Charlize Theron's like look within Fury Road. It's pretty badass.
hmm,
Obviously, and the obvious one is, oh, how is she gonna lose her arm? And then we kind of you finally got to see it, and that's one of the things I was obviously looking forward to seeing how that all happened.
yeah, dude. The maggot scene
Oh,
with the crazy lady. Oh, both of us were just like, ugh. I don't think we normally get too like freaked out with like more graphic stuff. We watch a lot of violent stuff anyway. But this one, it's like, I hate when they just show that like the little crevices and in her arm too. Jeez, man, that's nasty.
yeah. It gave me and then this is just like a shameless plug. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Monkey Man during that whole
Yeah,
scene. But yeah, I mean, the maggots part was one of the grossest things I've seen in a long time, where it just it grossed both you and me out. I heard you kind of reacting too.
It's like normally don't, but something about like just maggots, man.
Oh, oh.
That's
But
gross.
hey, it helped. It helped, I guess, with the infection. I guess I don't know. I'm sure there's some sort of medical reasoning behind it. So
Another thing I wanted to mention for the dailies, the characters of Rictus and Scrotus. Those guys were hilarious, but at the same time, it got pretty dark sometimes with Rictus. I was like,
yeah,
this is getting weird.
yeah, total pedo, dude.
Yeah, dude. I was like, I'm glad she
Ew.
freaking ran away from that guy.
I know, it was very gross. It's just seeing that is always just, I mean, and it should make anyone uncomfortable that watches this. And yeah, I was surprised that was one of the things that they did show for some reason. And I found out later on, again, New Rockstars broke it down for me. For the entire time I was trying to, I was looking forward to seeing one of Morton Joe's other sons, the half-born or whatever they call him in the thing, the one that was in the wheelchair. But I later found out that the real actor actually passed away in like 2018 or 19 or whatever it was.
Oh, dang.
And so I think they probably just opted to not portray that same character, because that's actually what I was looking for. I didn't know that he had the actual actor passed away, a few years ago. So, yeah, it was very strange seeing that sort of thing, and I was like, and just the names still, just because I have sophomore humor. Scrotus, really?
Yeah, Scrotus. I was like, did I hear that right? It's like,
yeah,
I guess so.
And if you look at Rictus, he actually has a second name. It's Rictus erectus.
Erectus, yeah.
Like,
of course it would be.
Bruh. Only a Morton Joe. What a weirdo.
Well, yeah. Clearly, when you have freaking... Oh, dude, when they showed the babies that were being born from the women with the with like freaking 4 legs.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I was like, oh, that's another thing that made me like wince a little bit.
Yeah. Oh,
Clearly.
I have another callback actually for obviously this segment, the dailies. But I was wondering it, and then New Rockstars confirmed it. The very beginning, literally the very beginning, we get to see Furiosa in the green place, and like she's with that other little girl.
Mm-hmm.
That little girl was character was young Valkyrie. I think we saw that together in the post credits, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that character is actually the younger version of that naked girl that was on the tower where Mad Max goes, I don't know, I've seen this, it's a trap or whatever. Yeah.
Really?
So that's the same character. Yeah, that's Valkyrie, the naked chick.
Oh shoot, what
Fury
the
Road.
heck?
Yep.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I gotta watch that new Rockstars video then.
Yeah. But yeah, I was thinking that was the same girl, but I wasn't completely sure, especially since we saw young Valkyrie. I was like, young Valkyrie, is that little girl? I was like, oh, maybe it's that same girl from Fury Road. And yeah,
I'll probably
These little
rewatch Fury
tidbits.
Road again though, man. Like I didn't get a chance to, but
yeah,
now I want to after watching this movie again.
yeah. I think, well, I told Jeremy this, but I'll share it on the podcast. I was about 2/3 of the way done with Fury Road before our screening for Furiosa, and I literally ended, and this is kind of a minor spoiler for Fury Road, I stopped watching right after Furiosa told her backstory, and I'm like, all right, thanks for the refresher. I'll expect to see that in about an hour.
Yep, it's like, oh, perfect place to stop and continue right there.
Yeah,
up
and then I finished the movie when we got back home after. So I was like, all right, cool.
Oh, nice,
So
perfect time.
it was a nice Mad Max like afternoon on Memorial Day.
Yeah, a very dirty and oily evening for you.
Yes. Oh man.
Is there anything else you wanted to mention before
I
we
think
get into our reviews?
I think we covered a lot of the Easter eggs, especially from
Yeah.
Fury Road. Um, yeah, that one part with the mom kind of reminded
Yeah.
me of Game of Thrones a little bit with the crucifixion and the
Yeah.
fact that Furiosa had to see that as a young girl. That was tough to watch as well. Ooh.
Yeah. Dang. I was surprised that she didn't run away. You know, in typically action movies and revenge tales, they're able to get
Mhm.
away and then have
Yeah,
prep time. No,
yeah,
she got obviously a prisoner, and then she
yeah,
got Mad Maxed for a while. And
yeah,
then
dude. Oh
I
no,
was
with the
like,
mask.
yeah, with the mask.
Yeah, it was pretty
So
cool.
yeah, that was the story went in directions that I was not expecting, but pleasantly surprised.
Oh, one of my favorite underrated shots, I should say, within Furiosa was that same scene, right, with Mary, Furiosa's mom, and her escaping on the bike.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what they call it, the Thunder Bike or whatever it was. When she was on fire, and then you can kind
Mm.
of see the fire in the back, and then Furiosa's in front of the mom,
Yeah,
and it's kind of going towards the camera. I was like, dude, that's such a sick shot.
yeah. I'm like, what? I don't know why
Ghost
I thought of
Ghost
like Ghost
Rider.
Rider. Yeah, you know already.
That's why. That's why I wanted to bring it up because I know you're a big fan.
I was like, damn, where's Nicolas Cage? She's on fire. Then she just started rolling around. Okay, I'm like, never mind. She's not Ghost Rider.
Yeah. Oh man.
All right, Ken, let's jump into the real review where we give our I Love You 3000 score as well. I'm curious if this is gonna be the sci-fi dystopian movie of the year, or is it gonna beat Dune? I'm like, it's like I don't know. There's sand in this one also.
Yes, it gets everywhere, right?
Yeah, Anakin would hate this movie.
Yes, he would, especially was it adolescent Anakin. Oh man, he really hated sand.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so for my real review, making a good prequel is a daunting task. If you think about it, the storytelling has to be so on point because most of the audience already knows the end game to the most important parts of each character and key plot points. Luckily, Furiosa Mad Max Saga succeeds in every aspect. George Miller told Furiosa's backstory that was hinted at in 2015's Mad Max Fury Road and filled in the gaps beautifully. He introduced memorable new characters like Chris Hemsworth's Dementus, Tom Burke's Praetorian Jack, and Charlie Frazier's Mary, who played Furiosa's mom, that got its audience invested emotionally. The action is just as pulse pounding as Mad Max Fury Road, and what we got was a bunch of people missing out on a potential next installment from George Miller's dystopian world due to the worst Memorial Day weekend performance in 30 years. I really do hope word of mouth gets around so that people can see this on the largest format possible. For me, I am giving Furiosa a Mad Max Saga an enthusiastic thumbs up. And on the I Love You 3000 scale, I'm giving it a 2760 out of 3000, which is 92%. And it's a definite contender for Movie of the Year in 2024.
Man, there you go. Okay. Let me see where I'm gonna pick this up. Because man, that was good review, man. I think
It's amazing when you have a few extra days to actually come up with something where I'm not. I think last live stream, I think I came up with that like 5 minutes before live stream, so it was a
okay.
little quick. So
There you go.
we'll see.
All right. All right. For me, Furiosa, the biggest question I had coming into this movie was, can this stand alone? For it being a prequel to Mad Max Fury Road, like one of the greatest action movies of the last, 10 years, can it even hold up? To me, I think it does. You can watch it even without watching Fury Road. The action, the characters, there's all colorful characters in this movie to keep you interested throughout. And the characters just, you become invested even more when you watch Fury Road. And even though you know the end game, it's it takes story turns that I appreciated, even though I didn't know that they were going to happen. I really enjoyed this movie. I'm giving it a 2580 out of 3,000, a little bit lower than Ken, but that's going to be a 86% from me, Ken.
Ooh, okay. Seems like we watched the same movie.
I think so. I think we both liked it.
Yeah. Let me ask you this though.
Mm-hmm.
Since we were just talking about sand,
Yeah.
which movie did you like more, Dune Part 2 or Furiosa, a Mad Max saga?
I know I gave Dune a higher score technically, but in terms of rewatchability for me, I would probably say Furiosa.
Interesting. Yeah, I
Yeah.
could see that actually. I feel like Furiosa is a little bit more of a pick up and go type of movie, whereas Dune Part 2 is, oh, I gotta watch Dune Part 1 to kind of pick up, because I mean, obviously it picks up right in the middle of a thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh. Whereas Furiosa, because it is a prequel, this is technically kind of within a linear storyline. It's kind of more at the beginning, so it's easier to pick up and watch.
Yeah. I was like, great, I have to watch Dune Part 1 again. Just kidding. Just kidding.
No, you're not kidding. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
I'm not kidding. But for those who know, I really love Dune Part 1.
So good. Oh man.
All right, Ken, we're gonna stray away from the Sand movies for a little bit. But before we talk about next week's episode, we're gonna play a little game called Guess the Rotten Tomatoes Score. So, Ken, I am gonna give you first dibs on guessing for Furiosa Mad Max Saga.
Right. And just to remind the audience for season
Yeah.
7, Jeremy's beating me again, 8-7. He's already he's won the last 2 seasons, so he's looking to three-peat. But yeah, I think both of us were I guess while we were waiting for that 2-second post credits scene, we were like trying to think of like our guesses. And luckily Jeremy reminded me, because I was like, eventually I kind of got spoiled after the fact. Luckily I thought of a score beforehand. So my guess that was in theater while the credits were rolling is 90%.
Damn it, Ken.
No, don't say it. Don't do it.
I did it, man. Damn it. I guess 90%. Come on,
Are you serious?
dude. I guess
Well,
90%.
keep in mind, when I found out about it, it was right after I watched it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually don't know where it ended up.
What?
It's been 8 days later. No, wait, when did we watch it?
We
Oh,
watched
6
it-
days. 6 days later. Sorry, 5 days later.
What day do we watched it on Monday?
Monday.
Yeah, you're right.
Monday. So
Because whenever we watch movies together, I decide on the score as we're walking back to our cars.
oh,
In
okay.
the cold. Yeah. That's when
So
I usually-
actually, my guess was actually a little earlier. We were still
Yeah.
sitting in the dark.
Yeah, there you go. Apparently, we watched the same movie.
Apparently. So
Well, I
that's
guess
anticlimactic. So
that
you have
is
your
rather-
lead still, no matter what.
Yeah, I guess it's gonna be 9-8. But let's see what the
Yes.
official score is. Hang on. We've got There-
Okay, it hasn't changed.
apparently everyone has watched the same movie. Well, not everyone. Those who have actually seen the movie, I guess, at this point. For those
Like literally everyone.
listening-
Look, the audience scores a 90 and the Rotten Tomatoes scores a 90. So
Yep. With 336 reviews, Furiosa Mad Max Saga gets 90% from critics, from audiences, and most importantly, from the
the
Weekly
Weekly
Real
Real
Podcast.
Podcast.
There you go. Damn it, that was anticlimactic.
Very anticlimactic, but geez, that's now our 5th tie of the season. We did one earlier in the season, then we had the 3 weeks in a row. This one obviously was a little bit different in that we both guessed it spot on, but those other ones during that 3-week streak was nuts because of the variance in our score guesses. We just happened to be
bigger gaps.
Yeah,
not just like
yeah,
big
crazy.
gaps, close gaps.
Close
So
gaps.
Whoever hasn't seen those episodes, check those out. Those are fun guess around
Yeah.
tomatoes games.
Yeah, especially our reactions when we actually find out and we reveal the actual Rotten Tomato score. It's so good.
Yeah. Those are always fun. Well, we're about halfway through the season now. So there's still time. But updated score is I have 9 points. Ken has 8 points. Still really close. So anything can happen at this point. But speaking of anything can happen, based on the trailer I saw for this movie, sounds like a wild ride. Ken, what are we watching for next week?
Yes. So actually, in about a week and a half, because we have a little bit of a gap, but we're
I always forget.
we delayed this this live stream a few days. So on June 12th, I won't even say next week. On June 12th, we hope to be back on our normal Wednesday night live stream, I guess, ritual, I guess. On June 12th, the Glenn Powell season of the Weekly Ritual podcast continues as he plays a hitman in Hitman. So I wanted to basically throw a shout out to Jeremy. That's how he presented it in his top anticipated movies. I think that's how he explained it. So yeah. Glenn
Without
Powell.
giving anything away, we gotta
exactly.
don't spoil it ourselves or spoil the audience.
Yeah,
He's a
I know.
hitman in this apparently.
Yeah.
And
Spoiler alert. He plays a hitman.
And he's Glenn Powell. So what else do you need to know?
Yeah, but apparently this movie came out technically in 2023, but it will be streaming on Netflix starting June 7th. So later on this coming week.
Yeah, I wish it was playing in more theaters. Damn you, Netflix, sponsor us.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, just give us, I don't know, just give us some advanced screenings, I guess, because I still do prefer to watch a movie in a larger format, even if it means, kind of playing a little Russian roulette with maybe a crying baby or some really annoying.
Why would you play Russian roulette with a crying baby?
Sorry, with the experience. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, that not in the literal sense. That just sounded weird. Thank you for calling me out on that, Jeremy.
I've pulled a full Drax.
Yeah.
Metaphors go over my head.
No.
Why would you play Russian roulette with a crying baby? That's deeply disturbing.
Yes, very deeply disturbing. Sorry, Drax. But yes, metaphorically speaking, Russian roulette with experience, because, Jeremy usually is the unlucky one with the crying baby.
Or vomit, it's happened.
Oh, yeah. Or that one dude in your Oppenheimer late showing.
He falls asleep, starts snoring, pours his popcorn on the front row or row in front of us. God.
You always have the best stories, I'm telling you.
I don't know, man.
Shoot.
But I still go. Apparently, people haven't been going to the theaters, but I know I talk about all the bad experiences, but
yeah,
there's been plenty of good experiences.
Hey,
so still
man,
go.
These are memorable stories that I remember. These aren't even mine. So it goes to show you that, we all can benefit from a story to tell.
There you go. Go out, live your life instead of staying home and streaming it.
Yeah, that's boring.
Yeah. Who wants that? All right, Ken. Well, that wraps it up for today's episode. But before that, where can they kind of find us on and maybe subscribe to if they want to check us out in the videos world?
Obviously, we're currently in season 7, and we are highlighting this brand new format that we love to show. Obviously, we're live streaming on YouTube. So go on your YouTube app or youtube.com. Go type in that search bar, The Weekly Reel Podcast. And once you find both Jeremy and I's animated faces, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also hit the notification bell so you get notifications on when the next live stream is. And obviously, again, just to remind everyone, June 12th, our live stream for Hitman, starring our favorite for season 7, Glenn Powell.
I mean, you're not wrong, man. He's taking over our season, just hijacking it real quick.
Yeah, and you think that would be our last Glenn Powell appearance of the season? Guess again.
Guess again. That'll come a little later. And if you want all the updates on when the next Glenn Powell movie is, that's going to be on Instagram at Weekly Reel. You'll see all our updates. We post on our stories. If, one of us, we need to slightly adjust times again, that'll be on our Instagram stories and all that stuff. That's going to be at Weekly Reel. On TikTok, that's where you get all the fancy edited videos of us with our reel review and other cool videos there on TikTok, which is at Weekly Reel Pod. So go follow us there. Even though TikTok, who knows? It could end tomorrow, could end 5 years from now. You never know.
But for now, it's still around.
Yeah, but for now, it's still around. So go follow us there on TikTok. But until we see Glenn Powell again,
the unofficial third member.
The unofficial third member of the Weekly Reel Podcast. He doesn't know it yet.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time on the wait. Actually, hang on. Before I say that, we'll see you in part 2.
There you go.
In part 2 for the Soup du Jour episode, where we're gonna continue a little bit of this fun conversation. But until we see Glenn Powell in all his glory.
Whoa! Not literally.
Hey, you never know. I don't know what's happening in this movie.
Not literally. Hopefully not literally.
Hopefully not literally. For some people, probably want that to happen, but whatever.
Oh, shoot.
We'll see you next time on The Reel.
All right, welcome to part 2 of this live stream. It's time for the soup du jour.
Ooh, what's the soup du jour?
Well, it's the soup of the day.
That sounds good. I'll have that.
Yes. Welcome to the soup du jour. This is our show where we talk about movie and TV topics. And so, in previous weeks, we've covered a few of my most anticipated movies of 2024. And apparently, it really is just my anticipated movies of 2024 because movies expected to do well in the box office, like the movie we covered in part 1 of this live stream, Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, and movie like The Fall Guy in the past few weeks, have both bombed at the box office. I mentioned it earlier in part 1. And I'll mention it again here in part 2. This past Memorial Day weekend was actually the worst box office performance in 30 years. So, movies
Not
might be in
good.
trouble. And so, since me and Jeremy, we both gave favorable reviews for I almost said Mad Max Fury Road. I meant Furiosa, Mad Max Saga, and we actually also gave a favorable review to The Fall Guy. We thought it would be appropriate that we talk about movie flops for this week's soup du jour. And so, Jeremy, let's go ahead and reveal our top 5 box office flops for movies that we've seen.
Okay. So I kind of restricted it to movies, at least, this is just for myself, not even for Ken. Try to think of movies that were fairly recent. So my honorable mention, I guess my number 6, is The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing from 1983?
2.
2. Okay. Yeah. Apparently, it was just too gross, too weird of a movie, which I agree. It is a really gross and weird movie, but it's a good movie and it bombed at the box office. But now it's like a cult classic.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like my honorable mention. The rest of my list, I try to like narrow it down to more recent movies. So I didn't want to go into like the 90s, 80s box office or whatever. But my number 5 is gonna be Ad Astra. So with Brad Pitt and Tommy Lee Jones. I watched this movie. It was a pretty damn empty theater. It was just like, but I felt like it was in a way kind of like Interstellar, but like more low key with the drama.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I like sci-fi movies, especially in space, and it did not get like the love I think it deserved. I don't know. I felt very emotional during that movie, so that's like my kind of underrated pick on my list. My number 4 is The Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad, not the
Yeah.
right. Like,
That almost made my list too,
yeah.
because I was surprised that it was a box office flop. Actually, I didn't realize it until I was looking up lists and I saw it listed on there. I was like, "What?"
I think it's a mix. Like, I think it's a pretty good movie. I really enjoy it. It's a mix of, yeah, you have the unknown super villain superhero crew, but that didn't stop the Guardians of the Galaxy, right? With James Gunn also helming this movie. I think it's the timing though. It's
Oh yeah.
right, like Guardians of the Galaxy came out like at a pretty peak point when you're almost like to Infinity War at that point, at peak levels of the MCU. You're still on the rise compared to the DCEU was on the downward slope, if anything, maybe on the floor at this point. And
Plus,
so
post pandemic too didn't help either.
yeah, 2021. So yeah, that I think the box office did not help, or did the movie couldn't save itself. Just everything else. My number 3, I'm going with Steve Jobs because I love that movie so much. Didn't even watch it in theaters, And now I really wish I had, because this movie I would gladly watch in theaters again, or watch in theaters now. And it's just an intense dialogue heavy movie. And but looking at the numbers, I'm like, holy crap, this movie bombed.
Yeah, it did.
But I think it's also because there was that one Ashton Kutcher Steve Jobs movie that I even thought that this movie was. So, and I heard that was not a good movie. So, um, yeah, my number two, I'm going with The Covenant. I've been raving about this movie, and it was only in theaters for like what 2-3 weeks because it was bombing pretty hard, and then it ended up on Amazon Prime. So if anyone wants to watch that movie, I think it's a good story, pretty good action. And my number one, I don't know if anyone could guess it. It's gonna be Dread 2012, Dread 3D, because it I remember in 2012 tracking the box office for this movie, wanting it's like, please make enough money so there could be a sequel. And they're like, we've talked about it years ago, possibly having a sequel, possibly having a TV show. Nothing has panned out. Can the boy I love the boys, but I think it's kind of starting to run its course now.
Yeah.
I think like a final season should be announced, and let Carl Urban do Dread. Like, please, I just want that. But yeah, my number one is Dread, because it's probably the one where it's the most unexpected one for me out of the bunch, and it just flopped so bad. Yeah, I did not expect Dread 3D to do well.
When I saw Dread 3D listed on one of the lists that I found online, I was like, that's gonna be Jeremy's number one.
You know already, man. So I'll give the artsy ones, a chance, like Ad Astra, but number one, man, has to be Dread.
Oh shoot! You know what? Kind of a little off topic, a little bit of a tangent, but we're doing a Carl Urban tangent. Just again, I will probably restart watching The Boys coming up because the new season. Technically, we're live streaming on June 1. It's going to be later on this month. Do you know exactly when that season 4 will premiere?
That's a good question. I thought it was early June, like June 7 or something like that. Okay. I can check right now.
Yeah. While you're looking that up, my Carl Urban tangent. I rewatched the original Jason Bourne trilogy right before it left Apple TV. I think it left like yesterday. But yesterday I finished with Bourne Ultimatum. But the day before I watched Bourne Supremacy, and I was like, dang, I forget Carl Urban looks so he looks so like slim in this movie, and he looks really young. And I was like, man, I can't believe this is the same guy that was in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So yeah, he's very versatile with his acting.
He played almost like a Russian agent,
assassin,
right?
Yeah, or agent, yeah.
Asset.
The asset, yeah. He was so good. Even his accent was pretty good too when he was talking in Russian.
Yeah, that car chase scene between him and Bourne,
bro.
Yeah,
I can now say, just because being removed, I think we've talked about how I hadn't watched the Jason Bourne trilogy in a long time prior to these past week or two or whatever. I want to say Supremacy is pretty underrated. I always thought it was easily the worst out of the original 3. But I don't know. I feel like it's much closer now. I feel like they're just all on a similar level. I still think Ultimatum's still my favorite.
I think so too. For me, for some reason, I always thought Identity was your favorite, but they're all like really good.
Ultimatum, man. Okay. I was marking out last night when I was rewatching it. I was like,
yeah, and the way it plays with time too. But The Boys season 4 premieres June 13. Not sponsored.
Oh wow, there's like only like a day difference, I think, between that and House of the Dragon.
Oh,
I'm gonna be stuck watching TV this month.
There you go. Yeah, forgot. I feel like there's another TV show that's also coming up besides those two.
The Bear.
Oh, that's right.
And then I think did Acolyte already start?
I think that's pretty soon. I don't think
it's coming out. I think it's this. I think those were the big four that I was like pretty pumped for.
Yeah,
well, Acolyte
June
probably.
4. Holy
Yeah.
crap!
Yeah,
People are crapping on that show for some reason. I mean, the first trailer was not good. I mean, it was a trailer. Nothing was bad, but nothing was great.
Yeah.
I mean, but for Star Wars, everyone expects greatness. So
yeah. Admittedly, only because I'm still behind on a lot of the Disney Plus shows. Acolyte is easily the 4th out of 4 most anticipated June TV shows. So
yeah, I'll eventually get to it.
Yeah, I need a rewatch. Rewatch. I need a restart. What's that one with Diego Luna?
Oh, crap. Diego, not Diego Luna. Is that Diego Luna?
I think it is Diego. Unless
from
from
Andor.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that is Diego Luna. Don't get me.
I get him and Gabriel Luna mixed up. The Terminator.
Oh, got yeah.
Or Joel's brother, Tommy. For the last.
Yes. I just recently watched that too. I've been doing a lot of rewatching.
Hey.
Last of Us is so good.
It is good. We can't wait for the next season.
Yeah. Yeah, we might. I might bring up some casting news, I guess, in our new segment, The Simmer. But anyway,
okay.
For my top 5 box office flops. I was tongue tied there. Honorable mention, because I felt like I feel like it wouldn't have been a box office flop on a normal year, but this movie came out in 2020. Me and Jeremy had to watch it in Napa. I'm going to say Tenet. Yeah. It's kind of cheating. That's why I put it as honorable mention.
Okay.
I love Tenet. And the fact that we got to rewatch it recently within the last few months in IMAX at AMC was pretty amazing to watch it. And again, it's just the what do you call it? The score just it's pulse pounding.
Yeah, it really is. I thought I was like, was it really that loud before? Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was. Ludwig Göransson, man. But yeah, Tenet is my honorable mention, only because I'm kind of cheating. Number 5 on my top 5 box office flops sounds familiar. Steve Jobs. I also enjoyed that movie. And I also contributed to the 17 million figure that it made it domestically. Holy crap. I was like, dang, only 17 million. But hey, they got some money out of me because I did watch that in theaters. And freaking Aaron Sorkin was in his bag with his writing within Steve Jobs. It was so good. And how it focused just on, 3 key moments in Steve Jobs' life.
Mm-hmm.
No spoilers beyond that. But Steve Jobs, so good. Definitely worthy of making this list. Number 4, we covered it on a earlier episode of our podcast. It was Jeremy's contribution to his favorite childhood movie, one of his anyway, Iron Giant. Yeah. That movie was so good. I was late to the party, and I was surprised that it only made 20 million domestically, especially for being a kids movie.
Right?
You would think that, kids would want to go see it. And my God, I was an emotional wreck at the end of the movie. It's
such a good movie.
Yes. Thank you again for sharing.
Of course.
Yeah. Number 3, I've mentioned it on a few of our Soup du Jour lists recently, so I won't go in depth into it. But Blade Runner 2049 is a movie that I revisited earlier this podcast season after watching it in theaters. I contributed to money, but I fell asleep. It was more of a donation, but I was surprised that it lost $80 million total. And I mean, it was so good. Again, I think I'll reiterate Jeremy's. You got to go see it eventually once you watch the first Blade Runner. Number 2, I think this was maybe what you were referring to with some of the kind of omitting like the 90s, because these last two are made in the 90s. Number 2, I
Okay.
have Fight Club.
There you go.
It was ahead of its time. It's
Mhm.
so iconic, but it only made 37 million at the box office. And I mean, we covered it. Go check out that movie. I think it was in season 1, right?
I think that was season 1.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Fight Club for you.
Yeah, Fight Club was really good, and I think I was happy that I got to introduce that movie to Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
And at number 1, another movie that I shared with Jeremy. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and it only made $28 million domestically. Shawshank Redemption. It is so good. It's still one of my favorite movies of all time. It's definitely a slow burn movie, but the writing is so good. The acting is so good. Obviously, you get Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman, and then a bunch of memorable side characters that you emotionally invest in. And man, Shawshank Redemption is still to this day one of my favorite movies of all time. So that's number 1.
Dang, I did not know that movie bummed. Because I
Yeah.
always, like just growing up, I thought it was like, oh, this is a classic. Like, this is a
Mm-mm.
cult classic movie, Like, everyone loves it. Everyone must have seen it.
I think this movie came out in 1994, and it got overshadowed in that same Oscar season by movies like Pulp Fiction and Forrest Gump.
Dude, dang, that year's crazy. What the heck?
Yeah, you got to look at the other nominees. I forget what else was nominated, but those are just the three of them that got nominated. I was like,
That's
holy
insane.
crap, it's
Imagine
insane.
having that nowadays.
Yeah,
Damn,
yeah,
getting
yeah,
classics like that all in one year.
yeah. It was so good, but yeah, very different list. I'm glad that we
Mm-hmm.
only intersected once, Steve
Yeah.
Jobs, and I feel like it was well deserved because that movie was intense for it being just dialogue driven.
Yeah. So anyone who hasn't seen that movie, and so I know some people have their apprehension of older movies, so this is a good this came out within the last 10 years. So go see it.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, let's get into our latest segment for the soup du jour. We call it the simmer. Ordinarily, we would go ahead and I guess kind of react to some comments or whatever. But again, we kind of threw this kind of last minute in terms of this live stream. So I thought that we could take this time to maybe talk about some random maybe TV or movie news that
Mm-hmm.
we've seen recently. And so did you want to talk about any before I kind of bring up some?
Let's see. I remember there was something like a news I saw.
Mm.
Crap. Oh,
Uh, okay, there you go.
here, I got one.
Okay.
Jeremy Renner in the Knives Out movie. What do you think about that? People are like, I bet he's the villain.
Did you see the one video? I forget if it was on TikTok or on Instagram where they're like, yeah, he's probably the villain because if you think about the last two movies, it was all actors from the MCU with spoiler alert for the first one, Chris Evans, Captain
Yeah.
America being the main villain, and then obviously they try to make it seem like Drax was the villain in Glass Onion, but it ended up being the Hulk himself, Ed Norton.
Speaking of Fight Club,
Yeah, yeah. I'm on board with it.
maybe
You
that's
know,
what
it'd
they
be pretty
want you
cool.
to think.
Yeah, I'm on board. I hope they kill him off like all of a sudden, just randomly, to throw everyone off the scent.
Dang. And they just bring him back, or
No, no,
no,
just like
he's
literally
dead.
kill him off.
Just like Bautista, huh?
Yeah, yeah,
Spoiler
exactly.
alert.
Because I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how they would be able to present or kind of bait and switch to whoever the actual quote unquote killer would be in
Yeah,
this
I mean he
sort of
could be.
yeah,
He could be the villain. You
yeah,
never know.
or maybe it's his evil twin. I don't know.
Oh yeah, there we go.
But yeah, how I think we may have talked about it. I don't know if it was offline or not, but how? All right, what's your anticipation level as far as this third Knives Out movie? Like, are you like pumped for it? Like on a
I
scale
think
of
I'm
one to
pretty
10?
excited. Yeah, like I would definitely watch it like first day it comes out. 'Cause
Mm-hmm.
it's all like Netflix stuff, right?
Netflix,
So,
yeah, yeah,
um, yeah, I watched it. I was I'm pretty excited. If you see Jeremy Renner's character being a little bit more eccentric, I bet he's the villain. But if he's like kind of just more mellow, then he's not. I bet. Because all the villains have so far have been kind of the more eccentric characters. I mean, they kind of all are, but
yeah.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
think we're gonna get like an intense type, like from the town, like Jeremy Renner,
Yeah.
or from Hurt Locker. I think we'll get more of a kind of a goofier Jeremy Renner, just to kind of give him a little personality. Because I feel like that's the overall tone of these Knives Out movies anyway.
Yeah.
And then they have to be memorable in a way where it's like, okay, you got to suspect everyone, right?
Hmm. And because you know that they're eventually gonna solve who it is, right? It's like a who's who um, movie. But so far with these last two movies, they've kept you engaged throughout, and there are fun things that happen, even though you know eventually it's going to be solved, and maybe you guessed right or not. But it's all about the journey to the reveal, right? I think that's
Yeah,
where they got to mix things up to keep it fresh. So hopefully
yeah.
it's not just like a repaint of
Kind
the
of a
last two.
retread. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
retread.
I felt like
So,
Glass Onion did a good
mhm,
job in being
mhm.
distinguishing itself differently than the original Knives Out.
Yeah, and having more Daniel Craig as that character is
Benoit
definitely a
Blanc.
plus. Definitely a plus for the sequel.
Yeah, I like his Georgia accent. It's so good. Speaking of castings, I actually have a few of them.
Hmm.
One, how do you feel? I mean, we talked about Chris Hemsworth. Obviously, that he's going to voice Optimus Prime in Transformers One, but they're also thinking of possibly him starring in Paramount's Transformers GI Joe crossover movie. One, are you on board with casting him? Two, if you are, who do you think he will play?
Ooh, he should just be Duke. I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
that's what everyone was talking about.
like,
I'm on board with it.
but then if you have him as Duke, then that means we're not in the Rock Dwayne Johnson universe. Then that means Channing Tatum's not Duke. No, but I'm all good with that. Like, I would love, I just bring back Chris Hemsworth and Henry Golding as Snake Eyes.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So let Chris Hemsworth be Duke or something. Um, I know I'm have a guilty pleasure for
The the,
the
the
Channing
first GI
Tatum
Joe. Yeah.
and Dwayne Johnson movies, but do they need to come back? Not necessarily. Am I gonna feel like it's just gonna be Chris Hemsworth as his character in Extraction versus Transformers? Probably.
Probably.
Which I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it a few times where we both were fans of, or are fans, I should say, of the first two Extraction movies. I forget how the second one ended. I think I watched that one too quickly. But you think there's gonna be a third Extraction?
I think so
Yeah.
because the way it ends, I rewatched it again recently.
Oh, you did?
I feel like you should rewatch it again just to. I was like, oh shoot, I forgot this happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're setting up a
A third
sequel.
one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I literally forgot. I think I've only seen it the one time, like when it first premiered, and I was able to watch them kind of back to back because
Yeah.
I also kind of forgot about what happens in the first one. But oddly enough, now because I did that one rewatch of the first one, I do remember it.
Yeah. So it's like I do like the second one more. Not saying the first one's bad, but I do like the second Extraction.
I agree with you. I enjoyed certain aspects of Extraction just because they obviously introduced it. I mean, we've talked about the tracking shot, but I felt like they took what they built in from the first one. I thought they elevated it really well in the second one. I did enjoy the second one more.
Okay.
I just need to rewatch it.
Yeah. Was there any other casting news that you wanted to mention?
I have two of them actually.
Okay, cool.
Thanks for tossing it to me. One, oh, here's that. So earlier today, actually no, sorry, yesterday,
Okay.
Giancarlo Esposito, aka Gus Fring, is officially cast in Captain America 4 as a mystery villain.
He's Blade. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
When I saw the picture of him, I was just kidding. He's not Blade.
But like, how do you feel about that casting choice?
I mean, dude, he kills every role that he's been in that I've seen him in so far.
Yeah.
Does his costume look a little funky? Like a little bit, you know, but those are set photos. So it's not color graded, whatever. He's kind of like in that long trench coat kind of thing. That's why I joke he would be Blade. But you know, I'm down for that. Is he the villain though? Probably.
Yeah.
Knowing his track record, but it would be kind of a nice twist that he wouldn't be a villain, you know?
Yeah, he plays such a good villain.
Yeah.
Such a good villain. I kind of want to rewatch Breaking Bad again or Breaking Better Call Saul just because of him. And then obviously he does a good job in oh my goodness, The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been in some recent other projects, and I feel like whenever he gets cast, it throws some cachet into whatever project he's in, whether it's a TV show or a movie. Just because he's just got that character honed perfectly.
Yeah, he has that gravitas about him where he even played a villain in a video game, Far Cry 6. So it's just like, okay, why is he even in this too? So whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm up for it. That makes me a little more excited just to see a good face on screen.
Yes, especially one that's just a really good actor.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of just other fun ones. Those were the main casting ones. The other one that just literally came out right before, Godzilla -1, just surprisingly is now on Netflix as of last night.
Oh, wait, -1.
-1.
Are you sure it's not King of the Monsters?
-1, bro.
Oh, okay.
It says surprise. Godzilla -1 surprise dropped on Netflix overnight.
Do they have the black and white version? That would be
I haven't
cool,
checked.
right?
I haven't checked, but that would be pretty cool. I would love to watch it in black and white.
Yeah, minus color.
That's
color. Cool.
Yeah. And the other random thing that I recently saw was, I think I sent it to you. What'd you think of the popcorn bucket reveal for Deadpool and Wolverine?
I mean, it's very Deadpool. So, yeah, let's just say that. It's very Deadpool. I like it. Such a, Deadpool has to be meta. And, it's definitely meta.
Let me ask you this. Are you inclined to purchase said popcorn bucket?
I don't think so, man. I think, wait, for you. For you. Like,
why are all the popcorn buckets that I want to get like so very let's just say exotic looking?
There you go. You gotta have the match, you gotta have the full collection. This is the Deadpool version, you know what I mean?
No,
the Deadpool collection.
Ryan Reynolds was not kidding where he said he was gonna come up with a popcorn bucket that will rival the Dune one. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I know Sean, who's usually in the comments section, I feel like that's very up his alley. He loves Dune and he loves Deadpool.
Yeah.
So this is and he loves popcorn buckets. I don't know if he got the Dune one, but get get the Deadpool one, Sean. If you're listening to this eventually,
Bro, when they had the butter, I was like, no, why? Why? Why Ryan Reynolds?
there you go. Such a Deadpool thing to do with him. He's literally Deadpool at this point.
He is. He is. He definitely is. Any other random things that you came across for the simmer?
Oh, okay. Just a quick one.
Yeah.
The casting for The Last of Us season 2.
Oh, that was the other one. I knew there was one that I was missing.
I was like, it's kind
Go
of
ahead.
mention that.
Yeah,
Okay,
I forgot about it. Yeah.
Caitlin Dever as a character from the second game of The Last of Us, and I know this is not a unpopular opinion, but because everyone was saying it pre season 1 that she should have been cast as Ellie in season 1, and watching her in Justified, I was like, literally, she was born to play Ellie, and then they didn't cast her. And nothing against Bella Ramsey, which I think is doing a really good job in The Last of Us. But just, I was like, dang, why would they cast Caitlin Dever now as this other character? Even though it's like, I don't know, they must have heard. I don't know. WB could always be super tone deaf, but it's kind of weird that everyone was like, cast her as Ellie, and then now they cast her as somebody else as a pretty significant character in The Last of Us lore. So I'm interested to see how they're gonna do that. I don't want to give anything away for Ken, everyone.
Oh, so The Last of Us casting news was actually different, the one that I heard. So I don't know if you heard this one before, but they, I think, officially cast Jeffrey Wright to reprise his role within the video game. I don't know what this, I try to stay away from the thing. That's why I saw it real quick. Jeffrey Wright, I think, is officially part of season 2.
See, just like Giancarlo Esposito, he gives that gravitas. He's like the other side of that coin. Just throw him in there.
Yes.
And he brings it, So I am glad that he's another talented figure to add to the pool that we get in The Last of Us 2.
Ooh. Yeah, I know. I'm the same. Like, I recently did the original Hunger Games. I forgot to complete what my original intention was to finally watch that prequel Hunger Games. I still haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah.
But Jeffrey Wright was even good in that, and obviously he was just more of a side character in the Hunger Games franchise. So I feel like he does such a good job. I'm very curious to see obviously what he does in The Last of Us season 2, and obviously as Commissioner Gordon in the Batman whenever that comes out, maybe 26 or 27. I don't know whenever that happens.
Movie needs to come out faster, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Too many delays.
Oh, he's hilarious.
I mean, that buddy cop vibe with him and Batman.
That's so good, dude. Speaking of Batman, because I kind of wanted to kind of book in the simmer with this piece of casting news. I lied. I thought I was done, but I'm not. I saw this thing on Instagram. It basically says, actually, guess who said this?
On Instagram.
Well, that's where I'm reading it from.
Okay.
Guess which actor said this? I would have a wild take on Batman. It would probably be closer to Michael Keaton. Who said that about playing Batman?
Cillian Murphy.
Wrong.
Damn. Who is it?
I'll give you a hint. We've covered and will cover multiple movies in season 7.
No way. Is it Glenn Powell? Yeah.
Just so that you know, I'm not joking, bro.
There you go.
I thought it was a perfect way to kind of book in this episode.
I mean, he's kind of like the new Iceman, in Top Gun.
Okay, kind of like Val
Val
Kilmer vibes.
There you go. If you never need a replacement Batman,
Yeah.
Val Kilmer, and
And it's not
then
like
Glenn Powell.
it's not like they've officially named a Batman in James Gunn's DCU. So
There you go. And did you know that he had a role? He was a bank stock guy, Wall Street guy in The Dark Knight
Dark Knight
Rises.
Rises. Yeah, I saw that. He was the guy that got his head smashed in my Bane.
Yeah.
Why are you here?
There's no money here.
Then why are you people here? Oh man, so good. It all ties in together.
Yeah. It's just a Batman different universe.
Yes, exactly. I couldn't think of a better way to end this this version of the Simmer. Let's wrap up this episode with one last thing, Jeremy.
Okay, so I actually watched two movies or rewatched two movies that I would actually recommend. I watched Anna on Netflix. I think it was a 2019 movie. Kind of got another box office flop, kind of hidden on the radar. Some weird stuff behind the scenes that the studios kind of pushed it under the rug. Still a good movie. And I watched Drive with Ryan Gosling.
Wait, where's that streaming?
I rented it on YouTube. Yeah, I know.
So it's not streaming anywhere, right? Because I think I looked it up
anywhere.
after our Ryan Gosling fest from a few weeks ago, and I was like, dang, it's not streaming anywhere.
It's not streaming, but I watched it. I'm like, damn, this movie still is good.
Yeah, no, I got called out on TikTok for omitting it from my list. I was like, I haven't seen it yet.
You gotta watch it, man. You'll like it, I think.
And you know what? I might check it again, just obviously because we're live streaming on June 1, and usually that's where they'll kind of reshuffle the deck in terms of what's on what platform. So hopefully Drive is now available somewhere. So I'll definitely check that once we go offline.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll see. For my one last thing, I'm also going to mention something that I recently watched on Netflix. And I think this is the first time I'm sharing the fact that I watched a short film. The short film that I watched on Netflix came out last year, and it's called The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, which was directed by Wes Anderson. It's starring Ray Fiennes, Benedict Cumberbatch, Dev Patel, and Ben Kingsley. And my goodness, it's only 40 minutes long. I wanted to watch something real quick, and I didn't necessarily want to start a TV show because I plan on doing all those rewatches. So I was like, for one last thing, let's check this out. And in typical Wes Anderson fashion, dude, he's such a good storyteller, and obviously you got the signature what do you call that style that Wes Anderson portrays with his camera work and everything, and the way he presents his medium. And oh my god, his storytelling is just top notch in this. It's so good. It's super fast paced with the storytelling, and yeah, I was entertained by it, and I would definitely recommend this, especially if you are a fan of Wes Anderson.
There you go. Sounds like a stacked cast right there.
Yeah, it's very quick watch too. It's just don't blink. It's witty, it's fun, it's total Wes Anderson at his best. Very good. Very good. Well, Jeremy, we didn't miss anything, right?
I think we got everything.
Yeah. So again, if you missed part 1, check out Furiosa Mad Max Saga. It's out now in theaters. I don't think it's going to get the Fall Guy treatment. Hopefully it doesn't, because we don't want to encourage straight to streaming on demand or whatever 2 weeks after its release date. So definitely check that out. Check out last week's episode on If. I think some mixed reviews on that. I enjoyed it personally, but yeah, check out that episode as well. And so on behalf of Jeremy, my name is Ken. We are the Weekly Reel Podcast. Check us out on our next live stream on June 12th for our favorite actor in the whole wide world, Glenn Powell, as he plays a hitman in Hitman. So surprise, surprise.
There you go.
definitely looking forward to that. So
Mhm.
check us out on June 12th as we close another week on The Real.